Hey guys, Jordan Reid here to discuss three prospects Detroit Lions fans should keep an eye on this weekend. And it has been an eventful week for the Detroit Lions as they have let go of head coach Matt Patricia as well as general manager Bob Quinn. But the great thing about it is you guys actually have a lot of things to look forward to in the future. And even though your Thanksgiving dinner probably wasn't as good just because of the turnout and how the game turned out against the Houston Texans, but let's look on the bright side of things. Matthew Stafford is still in the building, even though there is some skepticism about him, about his future. We don't know what the future holds for him. Do you end up trading him, or do you elect to get his heir apparent with a quarterback, or do you just elect to try to win in the short term with him? Those are all the options that are on the table with the Detroit Lions. And I think right now, the biggest positions of need right now, I think wide receiver definitely is one. We don't know what the future holds for Marvin Jones. Also, Kenny Golladay is set to be an unrestricted free agent as well. Now, whether they end up franchise tagging him or if they end up agreeing to a long-term extension, we'll see what does happen with that situation. But whatever happens with either one of those guys, I still think it would be wise for the new regime to bring in another weapon for Matthew Stafford or the heir apparent of the quarterback of the future, whichever direction they elect to go. I think defensive tackle is another area that they could look to address as well. We already talked about quarterback, which could be another area that they look to address as well. But I think one of the bigger needs on the team is linebacker. And that's where I will start with this. And Zack Collins, the very talented linebacker from Tulsa, a player that has just skyrocketed up boards this year. And the first thing that stands out about him is his size. At 6'3", 260 pounds, a lot of people would think he's a bit oversized at the position, but he's very nimble, he's very athletic, and he puts you in the mind a little bit of Anthony Barr. And what I mean by Anthony Barr is that he's not strictly just a linebacker. He can rush off of the edge as well. He's very versatile in passing down situations, but also he's really good reading the box along the interior as well, which I think is the biggest lack of skill right now with the Detroit Lions personnel on the second level. And you're talking about guys like Jamie Collins, Reggie Ragland, Jared Davis, Jelani Tavai, and Christian Jones. And it's a mixed bag as far as what you can get as far as three-down linebackers. I don't think a lot of those guys provide that third-down versatility that you're looking for, but I think you get the best of both worlds with a Zack Collins. So keep an eye on him this weekend against Navy, a team that's not really known to throw the ball a whole bunch, but you're really going to see his discipline put to the test as far as how well he tackles, how well he can read run concepts in the box as well. So keep an eye on the big-time linebacker from Tulsa as he battles against Navy. The second player that I'll talk about is one you very well may see in mock drafts commonly placed to the Detroit Lions, and his name is Devonta Smith, the Alabama wide receiver, a player that I think would be an immediate starter on this roster. And the first thing that stands out about him is you're going to notice he's a very skinny wide receiver prospect, but he plays much bigger than what his size indicates. He's about 6'1", 190 pounds, but he plays much bigger than what his frame does indicate. So I think Devonta Smith is a player that is extremely talented, and there's going to be some people that have some pushback about him just because he is a little bit on the skinnier side, but I think he's a player that plays much bigger than what his size indicates. Very reliable at the catch point, has that my ball mentality that you're looking for, and I think the Lions need that type of target to pair with Jones and Golladay, or if they just elect to take either or, I think Smith could be a shoe-in replacement for either one of those guys. And he goes up against LSU this weekend, and that's a game that he has always seemed to be hyped up for. They have a very talented cornerback, and his name is Derek Stingley, a player that we'll be talking about a lot next year. But that matchup is one that he dominated last year, and I think it could be a similar case this year as well. So keep an eye on Devonta Smith as he battles against LSU this weekend. And then I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an underrated name, a player that you don't see a lot right now in mock drafts or in any drafts, period. And his name is Davion Nixon. He's a defensive tackle from Iowa. And if you go back and watch him last week against Penn State, he actually had a pick six of where you see his athleticism. He's a player that wasn't widely known coming into the year, but he's put together a very solid season at about 6'3", 305 pounds. He has that nimbleness that you look for along the interior. He can hold his gap. He's more of a three technique, in my opinion, which is what the Detroit Lions need in this system. And now you just need to be able to stockpile talent. And I'm going to be honest, it's going to take a little bit of time to overturn the defensive personnel on this roster just because everything was such a scheme fit for the Patriot way. So getting a guy like Davion Nixon, a player that's ascending right now as far as a prospect, I think he would be a really good fit on this Detroit Lions roster. But going forward, I think the Detroit Lions do have some promise. Now, it just all depends on what they want to do at the quarterback position. But this roster is going to take a little bit of time to turn over whoever the next guys are in the next regime. So Detroit Lions fans, have some hope. The draft is going to be really fun this year, but keep an eye on these three prospects and Zack Collins as he goes up against Navy, Devonta Smith, the wide receiver from Alabama, as he goes up against LSU, and then Davion Nixon as he goes up against Illinois this weekend.